Today, I'll just quickly talk about giving feedback. You see, the job is not done until it is fully done. A job is not done until it's fully done. We talk about blockers, right? As one of the key things we have to remove in executing our tasks. Now, you see, I said there are two types of blockers: human blockers, non-human blockers. Now, today conversation is more like we are talking about human blockers holistically, right? There is feedback within a team. There is feedback across teams. Communication is the third key things you have to consider when executing a task. I would say communication within team and across teams. You have to learn to give feedback. Positively, negative feedback, positive feedback, even feedback in form of communication. Now, we can categorize feedback to many things, into many things, but I like to use two. One of it is communication as a feedback, and second one is feedback as a feedback. Yes, I'll explain. Communication as a feedback is I and this young man, we want to execute a task together. For instance, say the company has saddled you with the responsibility of selling off items or gadgets the company does not use. Now, we've saddled you guys with the responsibility, right? Because we feel like they are just occupying space. Now, in executing it, you have to have a plan. Now, both of you are doing that task unanimously. So we didn't exactly say someone should take the lead and that person should not take the lead. We just said both of you should make sure the job is done. Now, there were about 3 items or 4 items. You could go as well to split the item into 2 and say, okay, you take this part, take this part, and execute. The only way you would know he is executing his own parts is what? He communicating to you. Right? Because that is addressed as an holistic task. Right? The job is only done when I don't see those things anymore in the office. Progress. Do you know in execution we have starts, progress, and what? Finish. Progress is where most of us get stuck, and most time is because we don't communicate. Communication as a feedback is the act of informing your teammates or a team lead or another person in another team, just communicating with someone that is involved in your task execution. That's what I will address as a communication as a feedback. And everybody must know communication as a feedback is important. Communication as a feedback is very, very important. I have said that I am to assign all others at any point. When I give the instruction, if you don't understand it, you communicate to me. That's not the way to trash out giving feedbacks. Like, you must make sure, okay, let me put it that way. Now, I communicated something to you, I give you an instruction. You have to communicate back to me what you don't understand. That's how to actually make sure that we know that everybody is being carried along. Everybody is getting the measure or strokes of information that they need in a team. You are in a team and you're not working in silos. You must know that always. And when you are working in a team, there is need for communication as a kind of feedback. And communication as a feedback is also that I say, do we all understand? We say yes, we say no. That's a feedback. But that's a communication kind of feedback. And it's essential. Oh, I am trying to sell this stuff. Here are the problem I have. Now, you take it up to your teammates. You are giving them feedback. You are getting them. Communication and feedback is you bringing them into the know of what is exactly happening with a task allotted to you, either in a team or in a company. You cannot take task, right, and just go off. We as a company, we as a team, we as people are heavily dependent on the outcome of what you're expected to do. And when you fail to communicate to us, there is a big problem. And the problem is at the detriment of the productivity of another person. If you refuse to communicate effectively on why something is not being done, let's take a typical example of the riders complaint this morning. He said for the past few days, they figured out Mr. is heading sales out, and we have been meeting our target. And you can testify to it. You've had less problem arguing about it. That is the importance of the instruction I gave to you there. The importance of that instruction. You might have thought that Mr. Lawson suggested, and I always something again, that anybody that is your senior, when they advise you to go a route in doing something, it is not an advice. It's a clear-cut instruction. We do that mistake a lot as people. Your daddy advised you that, my son, in Proverbs, if you get some version, you say, my son, I advise. As the person will say, my son, I instruct. You hear when someone say that, I listen to my mother's advice, and sometimes you say, I listen to my mother's instructions. Because when someone that is superior is giving advice, it's an instruction. It's a clear-cut one. It is not up for trades. The worst of what you cannot do is that, the highest authority in a space is giving an instruction and you're floating. And sometimes the instruction comes as advice. Mr. So advise you to do this thing like this. Then you go like this. You are floating an instruction. Because at the end of the day, when they ask me, did you tell him? What do you think I will say? So tell me if I did. I did give you an instruction to go this way. And this is not to put anybody under pressure or do this. This is the way this thing works in the corporate environment. Now, when a team lead advises you and you don't understand, you ask questions as regards that. That's part of, we'll get to that. I don't want to jump. We'll get to that. That's type of feedback. When we get feedback as feedback. But oral communication is the most symbolic part of giving a feedback. Oral communication, talking with your mouth. You cannot say I'm a quiet person. Especially when you enter some goal, even if you're a quiet person, your charisma, what do you call this now? What's that stuff? Your temperament must change to accommodate the tasks as assigned. Normally, I find comfortable wearing Crocs. I have about 2-3 Crocs. I find it nice. I have like 4 Crocs. Not even some. But my role demanded me to start wearing shoe, shoe, and I'll be trying to stick to it intentionally. There was a time like that. I like wearing Crocs everywhere I go. But imagine I was wearing Crocs. Someone just called me. Hello, Doctor, I just want to quickly come and speak in Lagos now. As long as I can go right there and speak. What's the words I was still someone should give me jackets. But I'm with my Crocs, I have to kind of get a shoe. You must fit into. It's not like this is what I like. Yes, we know that's what you like. I know this is how you can do your things. But there's a laid down structure for these things to be done. So you communicate. Always. You communicate. Always. When tasks are given to you and you don't understand the nitty-gritty of it, to get information, how do I execute this task? To get information, you don't need to be waiting. You don't need to say, oh, this. You don't need to wrap your head around things you could just ask. I'm not saying don't take initiative. I'm not saying don't be audacious. But there are certain things that if your audaciousness is useless, you're using your mind to execute them is useless. You could just ask questions. I could have done before. Look at this sheet that we just review. We're not using that way before. I just show them this sheet. Let's do everything with this sheet. And we get started in less than how many minutes? Maybe like 10-15 minutes. We're done. If I tell her I have to go out, if she come back to me and tell me I have to figure it out ASAP, I could say we have this thing. Why not use this? And I know she's not so proficient with Excel, so I didn't bother myself. So don't use your brain to figure out where is Akala Express. When there's someone that knows the map of Ibadan in his mind, the other thing you can do is go to Google Map. But if you have the first line of that question comes to me, you can ask me. And that's how to communicate. Give feedback. Communicate with the kind of best kind of communication is what? Oral. And the best kind of feedback is oral feedback and communication. And that's communication as a feedback. Now we want to attend to feedback as a feedback. Now, feedback comes in many ways. I have to establish communication first because it's important. It's a very significant ingredient, even in feedback. Feedbacks like a colleague that is a blocker. Let's start with that. A colleague that is a blocker is blocking you from executing a task. And address it, and the person did not move. Take for instance, you say you always call the riders, you're not picking your calls, this, that, and they're not helping you, execute properly, right? You call them, please can you sit down? Let's have a conversation. You saw the way I give you feedback this morning. Not malicious. In short, and do you know one thing? You know, we are quick to forget that I sent us out to give feedback to the group. I don't know if we listen to it, but see, let me tell you something. Whatever you even read, and read that book, and I feel like I have to read that book again and work the workings of that book. So I can help me and do the writers better. I've already made my mind. Would dialogue anytime a writer is made, dialogue at least 3 times moving forward. We have a conversation about it. Now, I'm trying to make sure that I will give every writer a hearing ear, and I will sit them down, have a conversation. If it's not me, someone in the team must do that. The HR, that's the HR's work. It's not my work. People are complaining with him that Mr. Charles has not been doing something else. Call Mr. Charles, what's happening with you? I've been hearing this. That's how to own your work. And this is what I think. Why not communicate better? Why not communicate lots of feedback? And that's why, as a person that wants to be the HR, you must be equipped with knowledge. Knowledge in itself, enchantment. I'm not joking. Have you ever seen a knowledge person and enchanted? People that are vast. Knowledge is enchantment. I know they need to digress from what we're talking about, but knowledge is enchantment. No man in this world sees a human with knowledge and detests it. A foolish man is the person people detest now, not the man with knowledge. And even if someone is a foolish person, if a container of knowledge, it's just a matter of time to be wise. Because I don't think anybody was born differently, but everybody takes knowledge differently. You are not curious. You see a laptop. Do you know? Should I tell you something? Do you know that when I was leaving secondary school, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't want to be an aeronautics engineer. Do you know God made God has seen the beginning and the end. You know, the funny thing was that after praying, I think my mom tried advice not to, that she couldn't afford me to go to aeronautics engineering school I wanted to do at the time. And I thank God I don't know aeronautics engineering, but I'm afraid of heights. Anytime I'm flying, sometimes I'm always like this. God, that Lord, help us land safely. See, I've never had a tumbler that is beyond. You know, when tumblers happen, I'm not shouting. I'm not part of people used to shout, but I don't shout. I'm always just there, kind of corrected. But the truth is that the fright in my soul is bigger than that. Because most fright is beyond shouting. The only one single flight I've enjoyed in my entire life was when I was listening to some Abuja recently. That, and I think because I wore headphone. So now I think that I'll be wearing headphone all the time. I don't know why I think my first flight, so I didn't experience it because I was on headphone, but I didn't take note of it as a symbolic reason for that good experience. It was the first experience anyway, so I wouldn't know. I was so excited that I'm flying plane. I did not sleep well. Coming back to what I was saying, sometimes you have to sit people down, give feedback. Oh, I don't like how we are doing this. Even when a colleague offends you, oh, hi colleague, I don't like how this is being done. That's that kind of feedback, right? When a colleague is taking a those in the heat of the moment, you can let issues that issues like, then you call the colleague, please come. This is I like it. This is what I can say about this, right? And also, but in all of this, communication is what is the most important thing. In giving feedback, you don't need to also let you don't need to let moving forward, which is what we implement in our company. So we don't need to let staff go in a way that it is bad. Right or not like that? Let's dialogue. Oh, so and when you're addressing issues, let's address the issue, not the person. Oh, if you I appreciate your work at that too. You are awesome communication person. However, because of this event, this, I think we have to let you go. Do you have any feedback for me? You know, there's nobody that has left after that I've not sent to give me a leadership feedback. Almost everybody, except for the person, because they don't have me that I can send to. I always request for leadership feedback. And when you are going, you will not lie. You will tell me, F me. This is your feedback. You have been giving me all these days to collect. So feedback is important for everybody. Feedback is important for everybody, right? So we must learn to give feedback. We must learn the intricacies of giving feedback. And one of the best books I recommend, one of the best books I recommend for giving feedback is Giving Feedback by the Harvard University. Literally finish it. It's the best time book. The book is just about this size. Yes, it's time for this. It's about 20 minutes old. So, my advice I will all need that book. Do you all understand? Do you all understand? Do you understand? Do you understand?